just wanted to tell you, Officer Brown, I mean, you're taking money out of my kids' mouths.
Sorry.
Or you're taking food out of my kids' mouths.
Like I said, we believe right now that this is drug proceeds, illicit currency.
Well, I'm going to prove to you that it's not.
Perfect.
That clip shows a retired U.S. Marine being robbed of his life savings on the side of a highway. He was not arrested for, charged with, or convicted of any crime. He wasn't even ticketed. This is a rare glimpse into an abuse of power that thousands of innocent Americans experience each year. Through a public records request, the Institute for Justice was able to acquire body and dash cam footage of an entire roadside seizure, from the initial traffic stop to the seized money being deposited at the bank. This is the most complete footage we have ever seen. On February 19, 2021, our client Stephen Lara was pulled over outside of Reno by the Nevada Highway Patrol. He was driving to visit his daughters in a small California town just west of Reno.
The driver of this vehicle was following that red and blue semi-truck too closely, less than a second following distance. Driving under the speed limit, which is really odd. Stop him up here at Mustang, or a little bit safer, wider to talk to him. Make sure everything's okay.
Yeah, initially I thought I was getting pulled over because maybe I had expired tags. I had a rental car. Unfortunately, I had some car trouble, and that was necessary to get a rental car for a short duration for that weekend.
I'm doing great. Hey, the reason I'm stopping you, we have a special enforcement campaign going on. We're trying to educate drivers about violations they may not realize they're committing, but we're seeing a big increase in crashes out here. First, applaud you on your driving. You drive great. You're driving really slow. It appears that you're trying to drive safely under the speed limit. I appreciate that. I just want to talk about your following distance, especially around commercial vehicles.
The Highway Patrol officer seems friendly and reasonable at first, even complimenting Stephen's driving. He orders Stephen to exit his vehicle and starts asking him a series of questions unrelated to why he was pulled over. Police often ask questions like this to see if a suspect's story lines up.
You a fighter? Am I a fighter?
Yeah, you got a tap-out shirt on.
Well, I've got a lot of training. I'm a retired Marine.
What do your daughters do, man?
Ever been in trouble with law enforcement before? When did you leave?
What part of Texas are you thinking you're buying a house in?
What were you doing for work up there?
The officer then explains the real reason he pulled Stephen over.
Hey, while I'm working on this, let me ask you something, man. This is going to sound kind of weird. Part of my job out here is I do what's called highway interdiction. I look for people that are smuggling contraband through our state, across the country, weapons, humans, drugs, illicit currency, things like that. Anything in the vehicle I should be aware of? Okay. No firearms? No explosives? Okay. Are there any drugs in the vehicle? Cocaine?
I don't do drugs.
Yeah, I gotta ask all these silly questions, right? Okay. Any large amounts of United States currency in the vehicle? Okay. What's a large amount of U.S. currency to you? Okay. So there's over 10,000 in there? Okay. How much money you got in there? Okay. Fair enough. Would you give me permission to search your vehicle today? That's okay with you? Okay, perfect.
Although it's Stephen's right to refuse, he gives the officer permission to search his car.
I didn't want to come across as being non-cooperative or combative, so I did what I felt was right, and I was very honest, very forthcoming. I was also very respectful, and I just wanted to make their job as easy as possible so that I could be on my way to spend time with my children.
Hey Shane, how are you? Good. Hey, can you head out to a traffic stop, or are you busy on that other stuff on today? So far I'm still searching a car, but big bundle of money says probably at least 100,000.
That interaction shows what's at the heart of the officer's interest in Stephen. He knows that even though Stephen did nothing wrong, the DEA will adopt the seizure of his cash and return a portion of the money to the Highway Patrol for the favor of giving them the case. Here's how an adoption works. When state or local police seize cash, cars, or other property, federal law enforcement takes over the forfeiture. The federal agency does all the work and kicks back up to 80% of the proceeds to the state agency that seized the property. In Stephen's case, that would mean the DEA would take control of the cash and seek to forfeit it through federal law, ignoring the important limitations that Nevada law places on seizures and forfeitures. In 2019 alone, federal agencies made $334 million in equitable sharing payments to state and local law enforcement agencies. In this case, the Nevada Highway Patrol stands to gain nearly $70,000 by taking Stephen's money.
I think you're a good guy.
I'm a good guy.
So how much cash is that?
About 100 grand.
100 grand. Okay. So, as you know, right, I'm a vet, he's a vet, you're a vet. It's not illegal to carry currency, have currency.
Yes, sir, it's not.
It does, though, make us ask some questions on why someone has 100,000. I can understand why you don't trust banks, especially in this day and age right now.
Stephen keeps his savings in cash. Maybe that's uncommon, but as the officer acknowledges, it's not illegal.
I have nothing to hide from you.
I appreciate that. Give me a few seconds, can I make a couple phone calls, right?
The officer first calls his superior. He interrupts that call to speak again with the DEA agent.
Are you on your way out here? Oh. Okay, I'm waiting to hear back from Shane to see if he comes out here. This is it's a strange one, but not a strange one. Consented to a search, said there was money up there. We located what he says is $100,000. It's in a Ziploc sandwich baggie. There's also, I haven't gone into it a bunch, I'm waiting to hear back from Shane, but there's a bunch of bank receipts and stuff in there as well to show the currency. This might be Shane, hold on 1 second. This is Shane, let me call you right back.
Around 20 minutes later, the officer's superior, a highway patrol sergeant, is recorded on his body cam chatting with the same DEA agent who apologizes for not being able to make it.
No issues. It's too easy to do an adoption. You know, we contacted you, so I think everything's going to be okay. And I'll text you the money count after we get it. It'll probably be a couple hours.
Remember, there's still no probable cause to seize Stephen's money. All the officers have is a large amount of cash, and cash is not a crime. But the sergeant isn't giving up.
So why the distrust for the banking system?
I just don't trust him.
Yeah.
That's just my reasoning. It's my personal thing.
Oh, I'm not trying to
And,
convince you one way or the other. It's just it's not usual.
After questioning Stephen, the sergeant speaks privately with the officer who pulled him over.
What are your thoughts, Chris?
I'm kind of leaning more towards it's odd, but
It's odd, but it's not packaged
it's
like
not,
normal.
no, and he's answering the questions. There's receipts here, and
I would like to put the dog on the currency, man.
Okay.
The two officers agree that Stephen has been forthcoming and has years' worth of bank receipts showing that he has withdrawn his savings from his bank accounts. But the sergeant orders the junior officer to put the dog on the currency. The sergeant puts Stephen's money in an open Ziploc bag and throws the open package to the ground on the side of the road, less than 40 yards from Stephen's car.
Positive alert.
We'll go forward with it.
Okay.
This positive alert appears to have given the sergeant what he thinks he needs to take Stephen's life savings. Remember, both officers have planned all along to hand the money to the DEA. They are looking for a legal justification. But numerous studies have shown anywhere between 67 and 100% of U.S. currency has trace amounts of drugs. For that reason, a dog alert to currency on its own does not show the currency was used in an illegal drug transaction.
What we're going to do, I believe there's drug proceeds, dog alerted to it.
Drug proceeds?
Yeah, it's very common, sir. We get people that are trafficking large quantities of marijuana from Northern California to all states east, even from Reno.
Sir, I can tell you right now, there's...
I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen, okay? We're going to seize it today, but that doesn't mean we're the final judgment on it. It's going to go through the DEA, okay? So the DEA will contact you, and the DEA will provide you with a means to fight it. You're going to have to provide your pay stubs. You're going to have to provide your other receipts and stuff like that, okay?
Stephen now has nothing. He had to convince his brother to wire him $1,000 to continue his trip to see his daughters.
Just want to let you know, I know you're just doing your job. That money I worked really hard for. The money that I have in my jacket is only $3. I need to pay for my kids, my bills, my hotel. We're going to get that car back to Texas. So, I know you're just doing your job. Stuck here unless somebody sends me some money. There's no way I'm providing for my children this way. Get back to Texas.
After nearly an hour and a half on the side of a highway, Stephen was given a receipt for U.S. currency with a number to call the DEA agent.
This is all I get here?
That's what you get, yes, sir. You're going to get noticed in the mail as well at that address, okay?
I find it even more so concerning that if this could happen to me as a combat veteran who served overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan, this could happen to anybody.
After 6 months without his nearly $87,000, Stephen sued the DEA in federal court to get it back. Only then, after the Institute for Justice filed a lawsuit on his behalf and the Washington Post called the agency for a comment, did they agree to return Stephen's cash. Stephen may have gotten back his money, but his case goes on. Stephen and the Institute for Justice are also suing the Nevada Highway Patrol in state court to make sure that this doesn't happen to anyone else. Stephen's situation isn't unique, but he is one of the lucky ones. He will get his money back. Most victims of forfeiture don't have a public interest law firm like IJ to take their case. And if they cannot afford an attorney and cannot figure out how to navigate convoluted forfeiture processes on their own, the government walks away with their property without ever having to prove any crime. This highway robbery must end. It is time to abolish civil forfeiture.